Hello everyone. This is Helen from Susan's Family. Today, I'm bringing you the Tribute to Art series Mondrian Pixel Blanket, Van Gogh edition. The blanket consists of strip pieces, large pieces, small pieces, connections, and bordering. First, crochet each of the 3 types of pieces separately. Once completed, crochet the edging on one of the pieces, and for the rest, crochet and join as you go. Finally, crochet the border of the blanket in rounds. Start with the large pieces. There are 4 pieces in total, and each piece has the same dimensions. Some are placed vertically, and some are placed horizontally. The crochet method is the same for all. The only difference is the pattern. Next, I will use the large piece of sunflower as an example to demonstrate the crochet method. This piece is rectangular. Work back and forth in rows. Start by increasing stitches. Once you reach a certain length, which is the top corner of the rectangle, decrease on one side and increase on the other side, which means to work evenly. Crochet until you reach the top point of opposite corner. Then decrease again. Switch colors and join new yarn during the process. To crochet the pattern, here, I follow the crochet sequence, and refer to them as the increasing section, the even section, and the decreasing section. The stitches used include chains, DCS and slip stitches. Please watch my demonstration. To make it easier for you to watch, I will use thick yarn for the demonstration. The colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes, and hook sizes, refer to the detail page of our product, and the paper instructions. First, let's start. Pick up the yarn with your right hand. Wrap it around your left little finger. Thread it between your index and middle fingers. Pinch the yarn tail with your left thumb and middle finger. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Move the hook between these 2 points. Place the hook below the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. There's a loop on the hook now. Pinch it with your left hand. Where the yarn loop overlaps, the hook is on the left side of the yarn. Wrap the yarn. Draw the yarn through. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Tighten the yarn tail. Now start crocheting chains. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. This is 1 chain. Continue to crochet 2 more chains. Plus the initial chain, making a total of 3 chains. Work on the piece next. Start with the first row. Make 3 beginning chains. Then insert into the chain position next to it. Make a DC, which is the 4th chain from right to left. Be mindful that it does not include the loop on the hook. You can see that the right side of the chain has a V-shaped braid, and the wrong side has a raised horizontal bar. Insert into the upper strand of the chain on the front side. I'll point out the position here, which means to pick up this strand of yarn. Insert the hook and crochet. Yarn over. Insert into the corresponding position. Yarn over and draw through. There are now 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, and draw through the first 2 loops. There are 2 loops remaining. Yarn over again, and draw through. The DC is completed. I'll demonstrate the technique for DC again. Yarn over. Insert the hook into the front loop of the left chain. Yarn over and draw through. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Repeat twice. Once. Twice. Make 1 DC in the adjacent braid. Here. Treat 3 chains. 3 DCs. As 1 group. The first row has only 1 group. Look. This is the effect after completing the first row. Now work on the second row. Starting from the yarn tail of the previous row. First, chain 3. For working back and forth, you need to turn over the fabric. Turn counterclockwise. Then, pick up these 3 chains. Make 1 group. Start with 3 chains. At this point, the starting chain is with the wrong side facing you. Pick up the upper strand of the chain. Which is above the raised small horizontal line. Make 3 DCs. If you can't find the correct position, you can also count from the right side of the chain. One group is completed. Work into the beginning chain of the first group. In the large space next to it, which is here. Insert into the large space. Crochet 1 slip stitch. Yarn over and draw through. Pull through all the loops on the hook. Slip stitch to finish. Continue with another group here. First, chain 3. Insert into the same space. Make 2 DCs. For the third DC here, crochet into the edge DC insertion point below. This is where you insert. Pick up the remaining 2 strands of the chain. After completing this, the second row is done. This row has 2 groups. Move on to the third row. Chain 3 first. Then turn. Make a group in the 3 chain position. This is the back of the chain facing you. Work into the upper strand of the chain. You can see that each row starts with 3 chains. Then turn and crochet the group. The foundation chain for each row is the same. I won't go into detail from now on. After completing, work into the gap between the beginning chain and the DC. This means the space next to the beginning chain. Make a slip stitch. Then pick the same position and crochet a group. After completing, continue work into the gaps between adjacent groups. The gaps between groups from now on refers to the gap between the beginning chain and the DC. I won't go into detail for the rest. Insert into the space. Make a slip stitch. Then crochet a group here. This is the edge group, the third DC in the group. You need to pick the previous group and crochet at the entry position of the edge DC. Similarly, work into the other 2 strands. For the third DC on the edge, always work into the groups below. Crochet into the insertion position of the edge DC. I won't repeat this again. After completing this, the third row is done. This row has 3 groups. You can see the texture of the groups in this row. It matches the first row. This is the right side of the piece. The texture of the DC is neat. When distinguishing the right side from the wrong side later, you can refer to the texture. Also, the starting yarn tail should be at the bottom right corner. Next, crochet row 4. The method is the same as before. Start with a group. After completing this, pick up the adjacent group. Slip stitch into the gap. Continue to crochet the second group. Then slip stitch in the gap. Continue this way. Continue to make groups. Between the groups, slip stitch for transition. At the same time, except for the edge groups, all the other groups are worked in the chain spaces. Finish crocheting the last group. Row 4 is completed. This row has 4 groups. Continue crocheting rows 5 to 7. The method is the same as before. It's simple. I won't demonstrate it here. Everyone can crochet these 3 rows on their own. At the same time, you'll notice that with each additional row, the number of groups increases by 1. After completing this, crochet row 8. Starting from this row, you need to add new color for crocheting. You can refer to the chart, where each square represents a group. Start with the previous yarn and crochet 7 groups. After completing this, when you reach the last group position, you need to add the color. Take the corresponding yarn. From here on, the colors I choose are random. Refer to the chart for specifics. Make a loose knot with the yarn. Insert the hook into the gap of the adjacent group. Place the loop onto the hook. Draw the loop through. Pull through all the loops on the hook. Complete the slip stitch. Finish joining the yarn at the same time. Make a slight adjustment. Be mindful not to let the knot show on the right side. The color changed here will be needed in the next row. Leave it in place for now. Then use the new color. Crochet 1 group. While crocheting, place the yarn tail over the hook. Tuck it as you crochet. This completes the 8th row. Move on to the 9th row. Start by joining new color. Pick up the corresponding yarn. Make a loose knot. Insert the hook into the previous loop. Place the loop from the loose knot onto the hook. Draw through. Make a slight adjustment. Then begin crocheting a group. Here, turn it over. Since there are many yarns, adjust the position of the yarn balls. Avoid tangling the yarn. Complete with a slip stitch in the gap. Switch back to the previous color in next group. Insert into the gap here. Then pick up the new color. Place the yarn behind. Tighten slightly. Then yarn over and draw through. Pull through all the loops on the hook. Complete the slip stitch. The color change is also done. Don't pull the yarn too tight here. Keep the fabric flat. The color you just switched out will be needed for the next row. Leave it for now. After completing, make one group with this color. For the next groups, you need to change colors. Change colors when doing the slip stitch as well. Tighten the yarn slightly before changing colors. I won't emphasize this again. Place the yarn tail to the back. Insert into the gap. Then yarn over and draw through. Complete the slip stitch. The color change is also completed. For the yarn you switch out later, when there are no special instructions, leave it in place. Continue using this color. Complete the remaining part. Finish the last group. Row 9 is completed. Now work on row 10. No new yarn needs to be added for this row. Use the existing colors for changing colors. Methods and points to note for changing colors. There have been demonstrations and explanations before, so I won't go into detail here. Start with the edge yarn. To crochet 7 groups. After completing, change colors and crochet 1 group. When you encounter the thread marks here, you can tuck them as you crochet. Change colors again. And crochet the remaining part. This completes row 10. For rows 11-12, there is only a color change. Just crochet according to the chart. I won't demonstrate that. After completing, crochet row 13. Start by 5 groups. After completing, change colors and crochet 1 group. Then change colors again. Here, switch colors. The color will be used after 3 groups. To make it look nicer, we will join a new yarn at the later. The yarn tails remain in place here. And this yarn will be needed for the next few rows. Continue using the new color. To crochet 3 groups. Later, connect with the same color as the second one on the right. Here, one ball of yarn has 2 tails. One in the center, and one on the outside. You can use the other tail from the previous yarn ball to join. Or you can also use a new ball of the same color to join. After completing, the color changed here will be used after 2 groups. We still won't carry the yarn, leaving it in place. Use the new yarn to crochet 2 groups. Then join the corresponding yarn. Continue using the last color to complete the remaining part. This completes row 13. Move on to row 14. Begin with 2 groups. Then switch colors and crochet 1 group. Join the yarn afterward. The color you switch out will be needed after skipping 1 group. You also won't carry the yarn. Leave it in place for the following rows. Then use the joined color to crochet 1 group. Join the corresponding color yarn afterward. Crochet 1 group. After completing, switch colors and make 2 groups. Switch colors again. The color you switch out will not be needed at the corresponding position in the next row. Cut the yarn. First, leave about 10 centimeters of yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Continue with the new color. Crochet 1 group. Then switch colors. Complete the rest using this color. After completing, the 14th row is done. Continue to crochet the 15th row. First, refer to the chart. Crochet 7 groups. My sample is already done. Then switch colors and make 3 groups. After completing, you can see that there are 2 same color threads located in adjacent positions. Later, you will only need 1 corresponding yarn to crochet. So, take one of the yarns and leave a yarn tail before cutting it off. Continue to change colors and crochet the groups. Refer to the chart specifically. I won't explain it in detail. After completing, the 15th row is done. Continue crocheting downward. As you continue crocheting, when adding colors, join the yarn using the method for joining new yarn. If you run out of yarn, you can join using the same method. Whenever you meet adjacent groups at the corresponding positions in the next row that are not the same color, or if you no longer need that color later, you need to leave a yarn tail and cut the yarn. Then rejoin the yarn at the corresponding position and continue crocheting. Refer to the chart and the actual situation. Use the corresponding method to crochet. The situations and solutions have already been demonstrated. I won't demonstrate further here. Everyone should crochet all the rows in the increasing section on their own. The increasing section for the large vertical fabric piece ends at row 29. Continue crocheting the even section. Since the methods for changing colors and joining yarn have already been demonstrated, the method is simple. I'll use a solid colored fabric piece to demonstrate the even section. Refer to the chart. Use the corresponding color to change colors and join yarn. Next, to crochet row 30. For the large vertical fabric piece, when viewed from the front, you need to increase the groups on the top right, decrease the groups on the bottom left. Start with 3 chains. Turn. Work a slip stitch in the gap below. Then crochet 1 group. Continue to crochet each group correspondingly. Crochet until the last group position. When you reach the corresponding position, start with a slip stitch. Then continue crocheting the last group. This row starts with one group and less. You can check the number of groups. It should be the same as the previous row. That concludes the method for row 30. Continue with row 31. Start with a chain. Crochet each group correspondingly. Crochet until the inner side of the last group. Finish this group. Slip stitch in the gap of the adjacent group. Do not crochet afterward. Similarly, one group is decreased here. The number of groups in this row is the same as the previous row. That concludes the method for row 31. Move on to row 32. The method is the same as row 30. Start with 3 chains. Turn over. Make a slip stitch in the group below. Crochet one group. Continue crocheting each group correspondingly. Crochet all the way to the top of the last grouping. Finish the last group position. That concludes the method for row 32. Continue crocheting row 33. Start with 3 beginning chains, then crochet each group correspondingly. Crochet all the way to the inner side of the last group. Finish the last group position. That concludes the method for row 33. The method for the next rows is the same as the first 4 rows. Start with the even-numbered rows. Begin with 3 chains. Then slip stitch into the group below. And crochet one group. In the end, at the top of the last group, crochet one group. For the odd-numbered rows, start by crocheting the group. Then work into each till the end, to the inner side of the last group. The method is relatively simple. I won't demonstrate further here. Please complete the remaining part on your own. For the even section remaining part, the next section is the decreasing section. The method is similar to the even section, just decrease groups at both diagonal ends. For the vertical large fabric piece, starting from row 39, is the decreasing section. Here, I will still use a solid colored sample for demonstration. In practice, please refer to the chart for color changes and joining the yarn. Start with 3 chains. Turn over. Join with a slip stitch in the group below. Then crochet one group. Continue crocheting corresponding groups. Crochet until the last group on the inner side. Afterwards, no need to crochet. This way, both the beginning and the end will be decreased one group. This concludes the method for row 39. Continue crocheting row 40. Using the same method. Start with 3 chains. Turn and join with a slip stitch in the group below. Then crochet one group. Follow by crocheting groups. After completing the last group on the inside, the instructions for row 40 are finished. From here on, simply follow the method of the previous 2 rows. Continue crocheting. The method is simple, so I won't demonstrate it. Be mindful that the last row has only one group. After completing, join with a slip stitch to the adjacent group, then fasten off. I'll demonstrate the method for fastening off using a sample. First, chain 1 to secure. Leave a little yarn tail. Fasten off. Pull tight. Weave the tail into the fabric. You can weave in a few more stitches. Trim the excess tail. Finally, tidy up the yarn tails. Here, I'll demonstrate with a sample. For the color change section, Insert the hook into the chain space. Draw the yarn through. Pull tight. This makes a knot. Then, pick the tail up to the wrong side. Weave in the tail. If you want it more secure, you can divide the remaining strand into 2 parts. Take one part and pull it through from the adjacent position. Draw it out. Tie off the yarn tail and secure it. Merge the tail below. Continue weaving it into the fabric. The method for weaving in is the same as before. It's pretty simple. I won't demonstrate further here. When you encounter the yarn tail from joining, you can weave it in a few more stitches inside the fabric. You can also cut it off directly. Weave the other yarn tails into the fabric using the same method. The method is pretty simple. I won't repeat the demonstration. That completes the explanation for tidying up the yarn tails. Up to this point, the crocheting of the large sunflower fabric piece is now complete. Continue crocheting 2 strip pieces, and 1 small piece, and 3 large fabric pieces. The small piece has only an increasing section, and a decreasing section. The remaining individual pieces have 3 sections. The specific crocheting method for each section, changing colors, joining yarn, and the method for treating yarn ends were all demonstrated earlier, so I won't demonstrate them here. Refer to the chart and the instructions. Complete the remaining pieces. After finishing all the pieces, proceed with the connections. To make it easier to explain, I will number them according to their arrangement. From top to bottom, I will number them sequentially. The numbering also indicates the connection order. The piece numbered 1 at the top does not need to be connected, and start crocheting the border. For piece 2, while crocheting the border, it will also be connected to the corresponding area of piece 1. Piece 3 will similarly be crocheted along the border and connected to the corresponding areas of pieces 1 and 2. The direction for each connection is marked on the pattern. I won't go into detail. We will start by crocheting the border on piece 1. In addition to the previously used stitches, this also uses the SC. Please watch my demonstration. Here, I will demonstrate using a sample. The sample has fewer rows and no pattern. Refer to the layout of the finished product first. Take piece 1. It is a long strip piece. Match the pattern with the finished product. Make sure the first row has the right side facing up. Find the group at the top right. Work into the edge of the DC. Right here. To join the yarn. Refer to the chart for specific yarn options. To make it easier to watch, I am using any color for demonstration. Make 1 beginning chain. Then pick up in the same chain space, make it SC. Yarn over and draw through. There are now 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over, draw through in once. 1 SC is completed. Make another SC in the same chain space, insert. Yarn over and draw through. Then yarn over. Draw through the 2 loops on hook. Complete the SC. Crochet 3 chains as a transition. Then pick up on the left side. The gap between 2 adjacent groups. The gaps mentioned for joining later refers to the gaps between the groups. Make it SC in the gap. Make 3 chains as a transition. Continue down. Pick up the gap between 2 adjacent groups. Make it SC. 3 chains as a transition. Make SCS evenly in the gaps between groups. Between the SCS, 3 chains as a transition. Keep working until you reach this side. Before the edge group position. When you reach the corresponding position, pick up the edge DC of the edge group. Pick up its stitch. From the front side. It is the chain on the upper right. Insert. Make 3 SCS in one position. Here, I will refer the 4 corners of the fabric piece as the corner of the piece. Between the corners is its side. This side is made up with group patterns. Make it SC into the gaps. Use 3 chains as a bridge between the SCS. When you reach the next corner, make it SC in the entry position of the edge DC. 3 chains as a bridge. Make another SC in the same space. Complete this corner. Continue down. Make it SC into each gap. 3 chains as a transition. Keep working until just before the next corner. When you reach the corresponding position, crochet the same stitch pattern as the previous corner. Pick the entry position of the edge DC. Make it SC. 3 chains. 1 SC. Complete the corner. For the following side, crochet using the same method. When you get to the starting corner, Pick the same entry hole. Make 1 SC. Complete the corner with 3 SCS. Here, at the 2 corner positions above, make 3 SCS at 1 corner. At the 2 corners below, make 2 SCS at 1 position. 3 chains as a transition. Make sure to check after completing. Slip stitch into the first SC position, which is adjacent on the left side, into the horizontal braid. Insert the hook and crochet. After completing, the braid behind it is the braid formed by the slip stitch. Pull this slip stitch tight to avoid extra stitches later. Since the blanket bordering also starts here, and use the same color. Here, you can choose to keep the yarn or cut it. If you keep the yarn, you can slightly enlarge the loop. Pull the yarn ball or fabric through. Tighten. This will prevent the stitches from coming loose. The bordering for piece 1 is now complete. Next, we move on to piece 2. For the bordering and joining, start by crocheting and joining as you go. Take the corresponding yarn. Make a slip knot. Place piece number 2 with the right side facing up. This is a vertical large piece. Similarly, the sample has no pattern. I will only demonstrate the method. First, position the finished product correctly. From now on, I will use the sample for demonstration. Refer to the positioning of the finished product. Make sure all the fabric pieces should be with the right side facing up. I won't repeat this again. Find the group at the top right. Work into the edge stitch with a DC, or work into its insertion position. My sample has fewer rows. Here, join the yarn at the insertion position of the DC. Make 1 beginning chain. Make an SC in the same gap. Next, connect to the bottom right corner from its right side of the piece 1. First, continue with the previous yarn. Crochet 1 chain. Slightly enlarge the loop. Then, from top to bottom, come out from the gap at the bottom right corner of piece 1. Catch the loop that was left. Adjust slightly. Then pull through. Continue with 1 chain. You can see here, the chain has secured this gap. Make another chain. Go back to piece 2. In the same gap at the previous corner, make it SC. This connects the corners together. At the same time, on both sides, there are still 3 chains between the SCS. When connecting, the center chain is pulled through the corresponding gap. Continue downward. Connect to the side of the piece 1 on the left. The joining method is the same. First, crochet 1 chain. Stretch the loop slightly. Then, from the gap on the left side of the piece 1, insert the hook from top to bottom. Catch the loop that was left. Adjust slightly. Then pull through. Crochet 1 chain. Secure it with this gap. Then crochet another chain. Move back to the top of the piece 2. Make SC into the gap. This way, another gap is connected. I'll demonstrate the method again. Since the method is simple, I won't go into detail. Continue in the same manner, connecting the gaps one by one. Go all the way to the corner of the piece 2. At the corner, use the starting corner connection method. Start with 1 SC. Then connect to the gap above. Next, return to the same gap at the corner, and crochet another SC. This completes the corner connection. You can see that the connection point spirals together like this. For the remaining 2 corners and 3 sides, since no connection is needed, crochet the edging according to the method. Be mindful. Make 2 SCS into each of the 2 corners. 3 chains between SCS as a transition. The method is the same as the 2 corners below piece 1. Continue crocheting downward. Finish the last edge. Join with a slip stitch to the first SC of the corner. Pick up the large horizontal braid. Insert the hook, and crochet. Slip stitch and tighten. Cut the yarn. Tuck the yarn tail inside the fabric. I won't demonstrate this here. This completes the explanation for bordering and connecting for piece 2. Now, move on to connect piece 3. The method is the same as for piece 2. However, you need to connect 2 sides and 3 corners here. First, take the piece. Position it correctly. Then, at the lower right corner, join the yarn at the edge of the group. Then, make 1 beginning chain. Make 1 SC in the same space. This corner needs to match up with piece 2. Take the piece 2 and count from top to bottom. Match it with piece 3. Count the number of groups on this side. Then, at the group below, connect at the chain spaces. After that, return to the corner and make it SC. Complete the connection at the corner. Move downward. Continue connecting this side. The method is simple, so I won't explain it in detail. After completing this, you'll reach the next corner. You can see that previously, a connection was already made here, and it was connected from piece 2 to piece 1. For a nice looking, we will connect at the corner with piece 2. After completing this, return to the fabric piece, make it SC at the corner. Complete the connection for this corner. Afterwards, start from piece 1. Connect starting from the left chain space. Matching up each stitch, connect with the edge of piece 3. When you reach the corner position, it corresponds exactly to the corner of piece 1. Connect correspondingly. After completing this, no connection is needed next. Simply crochet the edge. The method for the corner is the same as the corner of piece 1. After completing, join with a slip stitch where you started the SC. Pull the slip stitch tight. Finally, cut the yarn. Tuck the yarn tail inside the fabric. This completes the connection and edging for piece 3. That's it for the explanation. Continue the connection. The joining method for the remaining pieces is the same as these two. Among them, for piece 4, start the connection directly from the lower corner of piece 2. Start connecting from there. For the remaining pieces, also start connecting from the corner on the edge. Begin the connection. Refer to the pattern for the specific connection positions. Be mindful when you encounter previously connected corners. Connecting the corner chain space that hasn't been connected. Do not connect in the same space that has connected before. Refer to the pattern for specifics. Crochet the border of the sides and corners, which don't need to be connected. The piece 4, piece 5, piece 6. For corners that do not need connection, crochet 2 SCS. 3 chains in the middle. For the 2 corners below piece 7, since there are no pieces to connect later, crochet 3 SCS. The stitch techniques and methods have been demonstrated earlier. It's pretty simple, so I won't demonstrate it here. Refer to the pattern chart. Complete the border and connections for the remaining pieces. That completes the explanation for the edging and connections of the pieces. Moving on to the bordering. There are a total of 3 rounds. All 3 rounds will be crocheted in one color. There are no new stitches used. Please watch my demonstration. First, crochet the first round. Here, I'll continue using the sample for the demonstration, using the reserved yarn from the bordering. Work in the middle one of 3 SCS. Insert. Yarn over and draw through. Chain 1 as the turning chain. Make 1 SC in the same space. Chain 3 as a bridge. Then, make a SC in the adjacent chain space. Chain 3 as a bridge. Continue picking up the chain spaces. Make SCS correspondingly. 3 chains between the SCS. Complete the adjacent chain space at the corner. Continue with 3 chains. Then at the corner. Here are 3 SCS. Make a SC in the middle one of the SCS. Continue crocheting as before. When you reach the corner connection, skip the corner chain space. Make a SC in the center of the connection point. Chain 3 as a bridge. Similarly, skip the corner chain space. Make SCS in the edge holes. Continue downward. In the edge chain spaces, make SCS correspondingly. 3 chains between SCS. When you reach the corner connection, skip the corner chain space, make a SC in the center of the connection point. 3 chains as a bridge. Similarly, skip the corner chain space. Continue crocheting using the previous method. When you encounter the corner connection, pick the middle one and make a SC. Skip the corner chain spaces. 3 chains between SCS. Continue crocheting downward. When you encounter with 3 SCS, make a SC in the middle one. Then crochet according to the edge method. The situations and positions you will encounter later were all demonstrated earlier. The method is relatively simple. I won't explain it in detail. Follow the previous method. Complete the remaining part. Finish the last chain space. Make 3 chains. Join with a slip stitch on the first SC. Pull tight. No need to break the yarn. That completes the first round of bordering for the blanket. Move on to the second round. For this round, you need to work into the chain spaces. Start with a slip stitch in the left chain space. To carry the yarn over, no need to tighten the slip stitch. Then make 3 beginning chains. These 3 chains count as 1 DC. Continue by picking up in the same position. Make 1 DC, including the beginning chains. This makes 2 DCS in the same space. Crochet 3 DCS in the adjacent chain space. In the next space, make 2 DCS. Make 3 DCS in the next space. Continue picking up chain spaces. Make 2 DCS in one space, and 3 DCS in the next space. Alternate crocheting. Continue until you reach the corner. The chain space to the right of the corner SC. When you reach the corresponding position, make 2 DCS according to the pattern. If there were any mistakes earlier, continue crocheting based on the actual stitch count. After completing, crochet 2 chains as an interval. Move down and start from the left chain space. Make 2 DCS and 3 DCS alternately. Continue until you reach the connection point, the chain space to the right of the SC. Finish the corresponding position. Make 2 DCS in each of the next 2 chain spaces. Make 3 DCS in 1 chain space. The stitch pattern is 2 DCS, 2 DCS, 3 DCS, and take every 3 chain spaces as a group. Crochet in this sequence. Continue crocheting until you reach the last connection point on this edge, the chain space from the right side of the SC. The stitch count at the corresponding position in my sample is not for reference. Determine on the actual situation. Just follow the pattern. When you get close to the corresponding position, for the remaining part, it is fine if you cannot be crocheted into a group following the pattern. Based on the actual situation, crochet the corresponding number of stitches. Finish crocheting the chain space on the right side of the SC. Then make 2 DCS, 3 DCS, alternating crocheting. Continue crocheting until the chain space on the right side of the corner SC. Finish crocheting at the corresponding position. Check if this edge is flat. If it's not very flat, you can adjust based on the actual situation, increasing or decreasing the number of DCS as needed to crochet this side again. Chain 2 on the corner position. The next part is the long edge. Crochet 2 DCS, 3 DCS, alternating crocheting. Finish at the chain space on the right side of the corner SC. Then 2 chains as a transition. Continue with the crochet pattern for this side. It's symmetrical to the other side. For the corner of the strip piece, continue to the first connection position on the left side. At the chain space on the right side of the SC, alternating crocheting 2 DCS and 3 DCS. Continue alternating with 2DCS, 2DCS, 3DCS. Continue crocheting until the last connection point on the right side of this edge. The remaining part is the side of the strip piece. Alternate crocheting 2DCS and 3DCS. If there were any adjustments to the stitch count on this edge before, the corresponding edge should also have its stitch count adjusted accordingly. The method is relatively simple, so I won't demonstrate further. Everyone complete the remaining part. Finish the last chain space. Chain 2. Work in the third chain of the beginning chain. Slip stitch in the upper 2 strands. Tighten. That completes the explanation for the second round. Move on to the third round. Make 3 beginning chains. Then pick adjacent DC. Here the stitch is slightly deformed. Make a DC in the top 2 strands. Continue picking the DC stitches. Make a DC into each stitch in sequence. When you encounter the space with 2 chains, correspondingly make 2 DCS. Two chains. Make 2 more DCS into the same chain space. Refer this crocheted stitch pattern a corner. Move down to the edge. Make a DC into each stitch in sequence. At the 2 chain space, crochet a corner. That means make 2 DCS on each side, with 2 chains in between. Repeat this process. Crochet the remaining part. After finishing the last edge, here reach the beginning chain space. Make a corner. Slip stitch in the third chain of the turning chains. No need to tighten. Finally, finish off. Gently enlarge the loop. Leave a little yarn tail. Cut off. Then find the second DC stitch on the left side of the beginning chain. Insert from the back of the stitch. Bring the reserved yarn tail out from the wrong side. Then insert back into the V-shaped loop of the slip stitch, which is the braid below the yarn. Pick up the half loop above. Insert. Pull the yarn through. Adjust slightly. The close-off is now complete. The edge looks neat. Tuck the remaining yarn tails inside the fabric. This completes the explanation of bordering of the blanket. If the finished blanket is not flat, you can use an iron to iron it on the wrong side. Up to this point, the crochet method of the entire blanket has been fully explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.